So today's lecture will be load or power flow study. A power flow study or load flow study, whatever you say, power flow study or load flow study, is an analysis of voltage, current, and power flows. That means you will be finding out voltages, currents, and power flows in a power system under steady state conditions. That is not fault condition or not transient condition, it's steady state condition. Okay. So what are the things you have to obtain from a load flow study, LFS or PFS? তুমি কি কি জিনিস বের করবা? What are the things you are going to find out? You are going to find out 4 things. Number 1 is the voltage magnitude, not the angle, only the magnitude. Then voltage angle, delta, V delta. The real power, that means P, and the reactive power, that is Q. These are the 4 parameters that you have to deal with. Then actually you can go for I, you can go for S. S means the total power, right? You can find out those from these. So these are the 4 things that you have to know and you have to find out. Now, in some cases, you will see for some buses, V deltas are given. In some cases, PV will be given. In some cases, P and Q will be given. Okay? So 2 of the things will be given. 2 of the other things you have to find out. তার মানে তোমাকে 4টার মধ্যে 2টা দেওয়া থাকবে, you have to find out the other 2. If needed, the current of each bus can be calculated using the obtained data from LFS. If needed, that means I told you already, if you need current, you can find or you can calculate current from these 4 data. Okay. Now, always remember, this is the red line. In load flow study, slack bus is always designated by bus 1. That means bus 1 is always called what? Slack bus. Slack means this is our bus 1 or this is our reference bus. Okay, reference. If I again tell you what is slack bus, remember this is your bus number 1. What are the things that are given in your slack bus? Voltage and angle. These are the 2 things that is given for slack bus. Okay. So why perform load flow study? তোমাদের কেন দরকার? Number 1, to find the current in the transmission line, obviously to find the current you have to know this all 4 parameters. Find required unknown variables. That means if you have to know what are the power that bus is having, you have to do a load flow study. Monitor the system to check the stability, load scheduling, to know the present situation, to perform further modification. You have to know the 4 parameters. And for that, you have to carry out what? Load flow study or LFS or power flow study, PFS. You have to carry out this. Now, okay, buses or nodes. So in your system, you can have buses, right? You will have buses. Now, the name of the buses, there are 3 types of buses that are available. Number 1 is what? Slack bus. Sometimes it is called swing bus. Sometimes it is called infinite bus. Sometimes it is called reference bus. That is your bus number 1. Slack bus, swing bus, infinite bus, reference bus, or sometimes it is just called bus 1. Okay? So that is the name, different names. So 4 names are there. This is actually your bus number 1. Then you have load bus or PQ bus or generator less bus. Normally it is called load bus or PQ bus. Generator less bus, that is not very common, but sometimes you can call. PQ bus means what? P is known, Q is known. That means V is unknown, delta is unknown. That is your load bus. That means people takes away some load from there. People takes away some loads from there. Only P and Qs are unknown.
Hello, sir.
Hi, hello. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Who interrupted me? Hello.
Yes, sir. We hear you.
No. Who interrupted? Keno? আমাকে interrupt কেন করলা? I was in a flow, right? Do not break my flow. I am going to mute you all. You cannot unmute yourself. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Then write your questions with you. Then you will give me the questions later. Now, the load bus or PQ bus, sometimes called generator less bus, that means there is no generator in that bus. Okay. Next, you have generator bus. That means slack bus or reference bus or swing bus, this is also a generator bus. This is also a generator bus. Remember, this is also a generator bus. But if you have more than one generator bus, more than one, that means this is one. That is your generator bus. You have your generator there. That means the main generator there. If you have more than one bus that has generator, those are called PV bus. PV. That means your voltage is known and your power is known. That is called PV bus. In this case, power is unknown, not power. Your voltage is known and delta, that means your angle is known. Power can be known or power can be unknown, doesn't matter. Power is not our concern there. Okay? So that is our reference bus or slack bus or swing bus or infinite bus. That is our bus number 1. That is your V delta bus. Next, you have generator bus. Generator bus means you have a generator there. So your V should be known because you have a generator. Generator voltage is known, right? So your V is known. And your P is also known. P means what? Power. Power is also known. Sometimes it is called voltage control bus or regulated bus. It is called generator bus. It is called PV bus. It is called voltage control bus, or it is called regulated bus. Remember, which one is the most common name? PV. PV is the most common name. Okay. Here, which one is the common name? Slack or swing. These two are the common name. Which one is the common name here? Load or PQ is common name. So whenever I say load bus, you will understand it is our PQ bus. When I say PV bus, you will know the P is known, the V is known. That means this is a generator bus. Okay. These are the things you have to know before going into the math. Now, each of the 2 bus parameter or informations are known out of 4. That means V, delta, P, Q. 2 parameters are known out of 4. 2 parameters are unknown out of 4. Okay. Now, slack bus or swing bus or reference bus or infinite bus. That means here the voltage magnitude V and the phase angle delta that are specified in this bus. That means V delta unknown are known. That means you know it. তোমার কাছে তুমি এটা জানো V আর delta. Real power P and the reactive power Q need to be calculated. That means you do not know. In load flow study, there should be one or only one. See this one. There should be one and only one. That means what? No matter how many bus you have, there should be one or only one slack mode specified in the power system. That means only one slack bus will be there. For load flow study, this bus considered as a reference bus. So this bus is also called reference bus. Okay. It is assumed that the voltage and the frequency of this bus will not be changed by connecting infinite number of loads and generators. So it is also called infinite bus. Whatever the load you are going to connect, whatever the generator you are going to connect in other buses, whatever the things you are going to do, its voltage and frequency will not change. Never change. Its voltage and frequency will not change. The angle can be changed, but if it is known, it will not be changed. Voltage and frequency will not be changed. Whatever the number of loads and generators you are going to connect. That's why it is called infinite bus. It is assumed that this bus is able to supply the required power as much as needed. That means it is assumed that this bus is able to supply the required power as much as needed. That means tomar joto power lagbe, how much power you need, it can supply. It is assumed, but it is not the real case. It is assumed only. Now the load bus or generator bus or PQ bus. That means the bus at which only load is connected is called load bus. Obviously, load connected, right? Real power P is known. Reactive power Q is known. That means there's a specified in this bus. So it is also called PQ bus. Voltage magnitude, that means the V and the phase angle delta need to be calculated. In this type of bus, no generator should not be connected. Here, no generator should be. That means this not will not be here. Okay, double. So no and not. So only one of them should be there. Okay, no generator should be connected. So it is also called generator-less bus. In the load bus, P is absorbed, so the real power absorption is considered negative. Remember this. I will explain later, no problem. I will have a shortcut form for this. So you just read this and you will remember. P is absorbed by the load, right? In your bus number 1, that means slack bus, P is, that means the power is injected. That means generator is giving power to the system. In this bus, loads are taking away the taking away the power, right? That's why it is negative. It is considered negative. P is negative. Okay, remember, for PQ bus, P is negative. In the load bus, for inductive load, Q is absorbed. So reactive power absorption is considered negative. If it is inductive load, then Q is also negative. If it is capacitive load, okay, let me go down. If it is capacitive load, then Q is positive. For capacitive, Q is positive. For inductive, Q is negative. But for P is always negative. Remember, for PQ. Sometimes maximum and minimum voltage limits Vmax and Vmin are also given. Vmax and Vmin are also given. Now the generator bus or the PV bus, the real power P and the voltage magnitude V, that means P and V, unknown. That's why it is called PV bus. Here there's a mistake. This is not PQ, this is PV bus, PV, P and V. So reactive power Q and the angle delta needs to be calculated. Okay, remember this. In generator bus, real power PG is supplied by the generator, so that's why it is positive. And real power PL is absorbed by the load, that means it is negative. That means there can be some loads here. তোমার এখানে কিছু লোডও কানেক্ট থাকতে পারে. There can be some loads connected along with sub generator. That means you have a generator, you have a load. Both of them can be there. If you have both of them, power coming from the generator will be positive. Power going to the load will be what? Negative. Generator bus reactive power is supplied by the generator is positive. That means if generator is giving some reactive power Qg, that is giving, that means it is positive. Reactive power that is absorbed by the load, what load? Inductive load, that will be negative. If reactive power that is supplied by the, or the absorbed by the capacitor, that will be positive. Remember this. That means, okay, let me show you something. In this bus, this is a bus. Let's say you have the generator. This is your G. You have a load, right? So in this case, PG, that means the power that is that is given by the generator will be positive. The Q, that means the reactive power from the generator, that is also positive. Why? Because they are going in this way. This is your load. If load is there, your P will be always what? Negative. Your Q will be always what? Negative or positive. When it will be negative? When it is inductive. When your this load is inductive, this Q is always what? Negative. When it is positive? When it is capacitive. When you supply a resistor and a capacitor, your PL will be what? Negative, and your C will be positive. Understood? I believe you understood this one. Now let's go there and see. Here you do not have to do this. You do not have to. You can read it by yourself, but this is the thing that I have already told. Now, how can you? Okay, we will do this later. That means PG minus PL minus loss is equal to 0. Later. Now the load flow problem. Now, how can you solve the load flow problem? Okay, what are the, okay, this. Here they have shown you 3 methods of load flow study, but actually there are 4. There is one called Gauss method, only Gauss, not Gauss-Seidel. Not Seidel, only Gauss method. But that method has a problem that was solved by Seidel. That's why this method is called Gauss-Seidel. That's why that Gauss method is not necessary. Only Gauss-Seidel is necessary, because Gauss method has some problem that is improved by this guy called Seidel. Later, this method combinedly is called Gauss-Seidel method. So that's why we will not be doing Gauss method. We will be doing only the Gauss-Seidel method. Then you have Newton-Raphson method, very popular. Then you have first decouple method that is based on Newton-Raphson. That means this first decouple comes from the Newton-Raphson. Okay. So what we are going to do? We are trying to solve Gauss-Seidel today's class. In our next class, we will be doing Newton-Raphson only. First decouple, not necessary. Okay. Gauss-Seidel. Now for Gauss-Seidel, there are few steps. How many steps? 8 steps. 8 steps. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 steps are there. There you have to do the math by using these 8 steps. Okay, let's see. Basic procedure of Gauss-Seidel interactive method. Case 1. First bus, slack bus, and all other buses are PQ bus or load bus. Okay? Or PV bus. That means at first you have to identify what are your slack bus, which one are your PQ bus, and which one are your load bus, and which one are your PV buses. Okay? Remember, slack bus is designated by bus number 1. Very important. If the bus or the slack bus is not given, if bus number is not given, you consider your slack bus as bus number 1, and your voltage should be 1 per unit and angle should be 0 degree. Voltage is 1 per unit and angle is 0. You know per unit, right? Already. Now step number 2 is calculated real power P and the reactive power Q of all buses except slack bus. That means you will calculate all the real power, that means P, and all the reactive power Q for all buses except slack bus, because slack bus you do not need, don't have to. Calculate Y bus. This is where Y bus is needed. Y bus, that means we have done in our previous class. Y bus. Calculate Y bus. Now this one you can do it at first, step number 1. Okay? You can do it in your step number 1. Oh, by the way, this is your case number 1, where you have only 2 types of buses. One bus is slack bus, another one is PQ or load bus. No PV bus here. Okay, no PV bus here. Okay, calculate Y bus, then assume the initial voltage of all load buses such as V1, that is the initial value, that's why 0 is given. V2, that is 0, V3, 0, Vn, 0, will be 1 angle 0. Remember, this is your initial assumption. Initial assumption, I said assumption, right? Remember, this is your initial assumption. That means it will be changed later, except for slack bus. Slack bus will always be 1, 0. It will be later, it will be changed later depending on the value. But at first you have to start from a value, that is your assumption, 1 angle 0. Calculate VKI. VK means what? VK means number of bus, V1, V2, V3, V4, something like that. VQI, using the equation number 1. I will show you the equation. And the I will be 1. Compare the difference between the old and new calculated value. That means you have to compare the differences between the old value and the new value. If the differences are less than some specified tolerance for all buses, stop. That means a tolerance will be given. Tolerance, remember, a tolerance will be given in your question or in your system. If your difference is more than the tolerance, you have to do it again. If your difference is less than the tolerance, you have to stop. Okay, otherwise, I said, otherwise the repeat 5. Step number 5. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So what do you do? Find value, see the difference. If the difference is small, stop. If the difference is not small, do it again. Find the difference, see the voltage, see if the difference is small or not. If it is stop, stop. If it is not small, then do it again. Okay, that's why it is called iterative method. Iterative শব্দটা মানে হচ্ছে বারবার করা, পুনরায় করা, again and again, do it again and again. That's why it is called iterative method. Iteration, I-T-E-R-A-T-I-O-N, iteration. Iteration means number of steps. How many steps you have done? How many iteration you have done? How many times you have done it again? That's why it is called iterative method. This is the tolerance value. That means the new value minus the old value should be less than your tolerance. If it is less than tolerance, stop. Otherwise, you have to do it again. Step number 7, that means when you are happy with your result, when you are happy with your V, that means your tolerance is bigger and your difference is smaller. That means when you are happy, go to step number 7. Confirm that the resulting solution is reasonable. A valid solution typically has a bus voltage whose phases range in less than 45 degree, and the difference between nearby buses less than about 10 degree and often very small. That means when it is typically, when your phase angle is less than 45 degree and your difference between nearby buses is less than 10 degree and very small. I will explain later, no problem. Calculate the real power in your last step. Calculate the real power and the reactive power of slack bus. Okay, because that is not given, that you can find out here. Okay, let's do a math now. Before that, I'm going to open your question answer. If you have any question, you can unmute yourself and you can say. I know the steps are very complicated to you right now, but when I start doing math, you will see it is very easy. Any problem? Okay, let's do a math. Okay, do not unmute yourself unless it is very important. Okay, you can unmute yourself right now. I'm going to do the math now. Okay, let's do a math. This one. Okay, this one. Now, before that, I'm going to write some equation for you, some shortcut. I have a request that all of you write them. Okay, all of you write them on a piece of paper and keep it with you when you do the math. First shortcut, remember, when it is PV bus, your Q you have to find out, and you have to find out V delta. But here the V is known already. You have to only keep delta. That means to be ber korba V delta, you have to find out V delta, but you will not consider the V. You will only consider Q. Not Q. You will only keep. তুমি শুধু Q deltaটাকে রেখে দিবা, বাকি V-টাকে তুমি বাদ দিয়ে দিবা. You will discard the V and you will only keep the delta. That means if your bus is PV bus, you have to find out Q and you have to find out V delta. That means you cannot find out delta alone. You have to find out V delta together. Then you will discard the V, then you will keep only the delta. সুজন বুঝতে পারছো? তোমার যখন PV বাস থাকবে, তার জন্য তুমি কি বের করবা? তার জন্য তুমি Q বের করবা। Q এর একটা ইকুয়েশন আছে, and you have to find out V delta together. কারণ ইকুয়েশনটা একসাথে। ওইখান থেকে তুমি শুধু V টাকে বাদ দিবা, ডেল্টাটাকে রাখবা। Okay, you got it? Now next, when your bus is PQ, here, what are the things you have to find out? You have to find out V, and you have to find out what? Delta. Okay? Okay. Understood, everyone? Now come to the equation. QI. What is the value of I? I will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Minus IM. What is IM? Anyone? Can anyone tell me what is IM?
Magnitude.
No, only the imaginary part. Imaginary. That means when if you have a whole number, you will only keep the imaginary part. Wait a second. Bracket Y II into VI plus summation M. This time it is j. This is not your complex j. This is I and j. That is true loop actually. Will be 1 y I j into vj bracket closed into v I conjugate bracket. Now your I should not be equal to j. Okay, remember this equation. Do not forget. Do not forget. Now this is your q formula. Now comes to the v formula. YII VI conjugate. Conjugate means, I will explain later. Conjugate means your value will be minus. That means your imaginary part will be minus only. Okay, I'm going to use a different color here. I'm going to use a blue color here. PI minus JQI, come back to red again, minus your J equal to 1, this is your N, this is your Y IJ VJ, your bracket is closed and your I should not be equal to J. Okay, so these two are your Q equation and V equation. Remember, you have to find out Q first, then you have to find out V. Why? Because see this one, you have a Q here and you have a Q here as well. When you find out the Q, you already know your next Q, right? Then you will put it here. See this one, your VI is here, right? But you haven't find out your VI yet. So you have to use VI from the previous step. That means the assumption. Okay. So you will do that. You will see that how we are going to do it. You will see that. Do not worry. So you have written this equation. Now come to the blue part. Why I have done something in blue. When your, I'm going to write here for PV. When your buses are PV, for PV bus, it will be P minus JQ. That means this one, PI minus JQI, right? When your bus is PV, when you are going to find out your V for PV bus, then P minus JQ. When it is PQ, this one should be what? Minus P plus JQ. Understood?
Yes, sir.
When it is PV bus, you should write P minus JQ. When it is PQ bus, you should write minus P plus JQ. Okay, that's why I have written in blue color. So these are the equations that you have to what? Then you have to what? You have to remember. Now let's do the math. Here they said what? For the following diagram, reactances are given in the per unit of a 100 MVA base, and find the voltage magnitude and the phase angle of the bus 2 and 3. That means you have to find out the voltage magnitude and the phase angle of bus 2 and bus Q. That means these are PQ buses, right? This is PQ bus. This is PQ bus. That's why V delta unnecessary. V delta unnecessary. Okay. Gauss-Seidel method. After 3 iterations, that means they have already given you some iteration number. That means you have to do it up to 3 iterations. Sometimes they can give you tolerance. Okay, sometimes they can give you tolerance. So they will not mention how many iterations you have to do. They will give you what? Tolerance. calculate the real power and the reactive power of the slack bus. That is the last step. That is PQ for this and this. Very simple. Now, at first, what you have to do? You have to say which one is your slack bus. Which one is your slack bus? This is your slack bus. Which one is your what is this? PQ bus, right? What is this? PQ bus, right? Now, remember, they are all 100 MVA base. 100 MVA base. Said. These are all 100 MVA base. So what you can do, you can make them in per unit. This one is 1.2, that is your P. This is your 0.9, that is your Q. This is your 0.8, that is your P. This is your 0.6, that is your what? That is your Q, right? How I have done that? Actual divided by base is equal to per unit, right? Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this one, then I'm going to move forward. Okay. At first, we have to find out the Y bus. Let's find out the Y bus of this one. Only Y is enough, not bus. Y11, Y12, 13, Y21, Y22, Y23, Y31, Y32, Y33, right? That is your Y bus. Now, how much will be Y bus here? What will be your Y bus?
3 bus.
What is your Y bus? Yeah, this is your Y bus, yes. See, your Y10, 20, 30s are not given, okay? So your Y11 will be how much? This was your J 0.5. This was your J 0.2. This was your J 0.25. Okay, understood? And here nothing was given, nothing was given, nothing was given. Okay, only P and Q was given. So if I tell you to find out the Y bus, you have to find out like this. Y13. Remember, these are all your impedances. So you have to find out the Y buses. Okay. So this is 0. This one will be what? 1 divided by J.5. That means minus J2. J13. That means this one divided by. That means J minus 5. So minus J7. So how I have find out this one? You know how to find out Y bus. That is your Y11. Like that Y12, Y13, Y21, Y23, Y33. You have to find out. Okay. Now, once the Y bus is done, once Y bus is already calculated, let's write the value J7, J6, J9. J7, J6, J9, obviously minus. Then you have 2050, J2, J5. This one will be J2, J4. This one will be J5, J4. Okay, this is your Y bus. Okay, this is your Y bus. Now, once you find out your Y bus, now let's go to the next step. What? You have to find out what? You have to find out Q. Okay? That is also already given. Then your V2. Is it given? Is it given? Nothing is given here. So no V is given. V3 given, nothing is given. So your V2 is assume 1 angle 0. This is your assume, remember. V3 1 angle 0. It is assume. Okay. Now your, what are the things that are given? Your P is given, P2. P2 is given. Your P2 is given, right? 120 megawatt divided by 100. So it will be 1.2. And Q is 0.9, right? But remember, since they are PQ, remember I told you, remember there will be some minus problems, right? But you do not have to worry about that, but because I have already given you some shortcut here, right? I have already given you some shortcut. See this? That means these are actually addressed. Now here, what is your P? 1.2. What is your Q? That is Q2 actually, 0.9. What is your P3? 0.8. What is your Q3? 0.6. These are all given, not assume. Okay? But my point, these are all given, not assume. So we already got V1, that means V and delta, V1, delta 1, V2, delta 2, V3, delta 3, P2, Q2, P3, Q3. That means some of them are given, some of them are assumed. So we are good to go now. That means the initial values are already given. Now let's go for next one. Which one? We will find out our iteration. That means our try 1, iteration 1. আমরা আমাদের প্রথম ট্রাইতে এটা করব। Iteration 1. At first, what do you have to find out? কি বাই করতে হবে আমাদের? What are the things given? In this case, we have to find out P1 and Q1, right? But that is after the math is done. Because this is slack bus. That means step number 8. At last. We will do that at last. But here what we have to find out? We have to find out Q2 and V2 delta 2. Why we have to find out Q2? Can anyone say me why we have to find out Q2? Because if you do not find out the Q2, okay, no, we do not have to find out Q2 because Q2 is already given. Q2 find out korte hobe na. No, no Q2 is needed because Q2 is already given. For V3, we have to find out V3 and what? Delta 3. That's it. Now, which formula we'll be using? We will be using this formula only. Do you know why? Because P is known, Q is also known. So you do not have to worry about this. Okay. So we have to only use this formula. Now, Q is not needed, Q is given. For bus number 2, we'll find out what? V2. What is the formula? Can anyone say what is the formula? The formula is this 1 divided by YII, PI, JQI, VI delta, summation YIJ, this one. Okay, let's write. 1 YII VI, the upper one was blue, right? P minus J, PI minus JQI. I told you if it is PV bus, it will be P minus JQI. But if it is PQ bus, it will be what? Minus P plus JQ, right? I told you, right? Here,
Yes, sir.
PQ minus P plus JQ. And this bus is PQ, right? See, P is given, Q is given. So it is PQ. So we have to write minus P plus JQ. Then minus summation, your J will start from 1. This will be N. N is number of bus. YIJ. VJ. Your I cannot equal to J. I'm going to explain this formula for you now. You see, here I will write Y I is equal to 2, number of bus. So 2 Y22. Y22. You understood? I means what bus you are calculating. We are calculating bus number 2. So this will be 22. Minus PI. PI means P2. Plus JQI. QI means Q2. This is V2 conjugate. Minus summation. J will start from 1 and J will end at 3. That means number of N. N means bus. Here this will be 2. This will be J. VJ. And your J will not be equal to I. That means your value of J will be 1 and the value of J will be 3, not 2, because your I value is 2. That means your J cannot be 2. Now what does that mean? That means something like this. Okay, let me write here. What this means? This means in case of summation, what are you going to do? You are going to do something like this. No, not this. Put it here. In case of summation, you do not have to put summation. Rather, you put a bracket. Summation means plus, right? Y2. In case of J, you put 1. That means it will start from 1. It will go up to 3. So 1 V1 Y2. Okay, what I have done here, summation of Yij, Vj means what? Your value will be I, your value will be J1 V1, J2 V2, J3 V3. That means up to N, Jn Vn. But your I cannot be equal to J. That means Y2 V2, Y2 to V2 will not be there because Y22 is already here and V2 is already calculated. That means তুমি এখানে শুধুমাত্র ওগুলাকে রাখবা যেটা I and J is not equal. Got my point? If you think about this one, let's write it. Let's write that. Here, what is this? Y. What is the value of I here? What is the value of I? Can anyone say what is the value of I? In this bus, the value of I is 2, right?
2, sir.
So the J value will be 1 V1 plus Y2, that is the value of I, and this will be 2 V2 Y2 3 V3. And what is the value of your N? Can anyone say what is the value of your N?
3, sir.
3. So you have to go up to 3. So Y21 V1, Y22 V2, Y23 V3. That means you will stop at 3. But here you can see they have already said I cannot be equal to J. In this place, can you see your I and J are same, right?
Yes, sir.
So these one will not present in your equation. That means these two will be there only. Okay? This is a bit complicated, but you will once you do it, you will know how to do it. So your equation is completed. So this is your equation. Let's put everything here. What is your Y22? Minus J6, right? Let's write minus J6. What is the value of your P2? 1.2. So minus 1.2 plus JQ2. What is the value of your Q2? 0.9. What is your value of your V2? V2 value is 1 angle 0. Remember, this is your V2, is your 1 angle 0. Once I write conjugate, this one will be 1 angle minus 0. Okay? Remember, your conjugate means what? Your conjugate means what? Conjugate means your imaginary part or your angle part will be opposite.
Science, sir.
Your
It's
imaginary
like
part
it
or
will-
the imaginary part or your angle part will be opposite. If it is plus, it will be minus. If it is minus, it will be plus. So your V2 is 1 angle 0. It will be 1 angle minus 0. So let's write. But minus 0 is nothing. Minus 0 and 0, they are actually same. So we have written there minus Y21. What is your Y21? J2, right? Let's write J2. What is your V1? Wait a second. Okay. So what is your V1? Can anyone say what is your V1?
1 angle 0, sir.
1 angle 0. So let's write 1 angle 0. Okay. The minus plus will be minus. So what is your Y23? J4. Let's write J4. What is your V3? Do you know what is your V3? It is not given, but it is assumed. What? What is it is assumed? 1 angle 0. Let's write 1 angle 0. Understood, everyone? Now let's find out using a calculator.
Sir,
Yeah.
there is a plus J4 or sir minus J4.
Minus J4
Why
because
3?
no, because you have a minus in front and you have a bracket. So if I take out the bracket, it will both will be minus, right?
Yes, sir.
Now let's use a calculator and calculate.
হ্যালো
Okay?
স্যার
হ্যাঁ, বলো।
স্যার ওখানে যে অ্যাজিউমের মানটা স্যার ওটা স্যার একটু স্যার বুঝতে সমস্যা হচ্ছে আর স্যার ওখানে B1 এর মানটা স্যার আসছে স্যার ওটা দেওয়া আসছে স্যার ওটা কোন থেকে আসলো স্যার
কোনটা?
এই যে স্যার B1 আর স্যার এই যে স্যার B2 স্যার এগুলা মানটা স্যার আসলে কোথা থেকে
এই যে আমি অ্যাজিউম করছি, অ্যাজিউম মানে বুঝছো, অ্যাজিউম মানে আমি অনুমান করে নিছি, অ্যাজিউম।
আর ওইটা কি স্যার ওই যেটা স্যার ই করে দিবেন স্যার গুণ করে দিবেন নাকি স্যার
কোনটা?
B1 এর মানটা স্যার
V1 এর মানটা, V1 কোনটা? This one, এটা
স্যার ওই যে
এটা
স্যার উপরে জি স্যার যেটা গিভেন স্যার দেওয়া আছে না স্যার ওখানেই স্যার
এখানে?
না স্যার জি স্যার এখানেই স্যার ওই যে B1 স্যার উপরে স্যার যেটা স্যার
এই যে এই V1 টা?
জি স্যার
এই যে ও V1 এটা এটা
জি স্যার
1.06 না, এটা গুণ করে দিব কেন?
1.06 sir.
why should I আমি গুণ করব কেন? এটা দেখো দেওয়া আছে তোমার, এই যে কোশ্চেনে দেওয়া আছে 1.06,
ও জি স্যার বুঝতে পারছি
এটা দেওয়া আছে অলরেডি, it is already given. Okay, let's calculate this one using a calculator. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this one using my phone, then I'm going to put the calculator, put the value in the calculator. How to do that? See, this is the calculator, right? Can anyone see the calculator? So we have to go to the complex mode, then you have to what? Then 1 divided by what? Minus 6i, that means j, right? Into bracket, on top of that you will have minus 1.2 plus 0.9j divided by 1 angle. What is the angle? Angle is this one is the angle. Angle 0. Obviously minus 0 will be there, but minus 0 plus 0 is actually same. Minus 2i into 1 angle 0 minus, oh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Do you know what is the mistake? What is your V1?
Yes, sir. 1.06, sir.
1.06. It should be 1.06, right?
Yes, sir.
.06. And what is your V3? V3 is 1 angle 0. Okay, that's fine. .06. Your angle is 0, fine. Then 4, and minus 4 actually, I into 1 angle 0, bracket closed. This is your answer. How much? 0.87 and minus 2i. But we want it in V delta because this is V, right? We want in V delta form, that is in angle form. So how can I do that? Shift. This is the complex. So I want it in R theta mode, right? That means 3 mode. I'm going to click 3. This is your value, 0.89269 minus 12.94. Let's write it here. Eight nine two six nine. And the angle is how much? Angle is 12.95. All of you understood? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I understand, sir.
This is our what? This is our iteration 1 and only V2. Now you have to find out what? Okay, all of you write this value, V2. Write this value and you have to tell me, okay, when? Now see this one.
অঙ্কগুলো করে নিতে হবে
আচ্ছা দেখো,
স্যার
okay, দেখো,
তাহলে ঝামেলা
see this one. This value I'm going to update. Which one update? V2, right? I'm going to update the value. $12 point how much? 12.9695. বুঝতে পারছো আমি কি করছি? What I have done here, previously the value was 1 ∠0, that was assumed value, but now I have a better value. I have an updated value, right? I have an updated value. So I delete the value and I update the value. Understood, everyone? What I have
Yes,
done
sir.
here, I updated the value. Now let's go for V3. So I'm going to write V3 here. Okay, this one will be what? 3. Same value, V3, V3, V3. And since V3 is also your what? Also your PQ. So we're going to write minus P plus JQ, right? Remember this. Do not forget. So
Yes.
PQ. Then in place of 3, in place of 2, we'll write 2. So 3, 1, V1. Then it will be what? 3, 2, V2, right? And 3, 3 will be gone. 3, 3 will not be here. আমরা 3, 3 লিখতে পারবো না এই পার্টে। Now 1 divided by Y33. What is your Y33? Minus J9, right? J9 is your Y33. So I'm going to write minus J9. What is your P3 and Q3? P3 value is how much? 0.8. What is your Q3? Q3 is 0.6. 0.8 and 0.6. So I'm going to write 0.8 and 0.6. 0.6. What is your V3? 1 ∠0. So 1 angle minus 0. Fine. What is your Y31? This is your Y31. J5. So I'm going to write J5 and into V1. What is your V1? 1.06 angle 0. What is your Y32? J4. See, J4. So J4, and what is your V2? This is important. What is your V2? 1 ∠0? No, your V2 is now this one. You already got it, right? Right, my dear?
Yes.
So your
Yes.
V2 will be gone. You will be writing this value in your V2, right? Understood?
yes sir
Now use the calculator. So if I use the calculator again, so I'm going to use my calculator. That is my actual calculator, not the software calculator. So 1 divided by minus J9, so 9i, into bracket minus 0.8 plus 0.6i divided by 1 angle minus 0 minus 5i into 1.06 angle 0 minus 4i into 0.89269 angle minus 12.95. Done. So our latest value comes like this: 0.92611. So we will stop here. So minus 11.92611. 0.069 degree. Do you know how many digit you will take? Do you know how many digit you have to take? তোমাদেরকে কত digit পর্যন্ত নিতে হবে? Do you know that? Any idea? Anyone?
It's more than atmost for
Yeah, it depends. It depends on what? It depends on these. It depends on this tolerance. Okay, it depends on what? It depends on tolerance. Sometimes it depends on decimal point. Sometimes the decimal point is given. Now, like this one, this is a math. This is an actual assignment math. Here, what they have said, find the value using what? Using a tolerance of how much? 0.001. That means you have to take at least 4 digit. 0.001 means what? You have to take 4 digit after your decimal. Okay. So here the 3 digits are there. So you have to take how many digits? 4 digit. At least 3 or 4 digit is safe. So you have to take 4 digits here. So this comes from the question. So here they didn't mention any iteration. So this you have to do this many iteration. No, they have not done that. Rather, they have given you tolerance that has 3 digits, 0.001. So you have to take at least 4 digit for getting that tolerance. Okay, now let's get back to our whiteboard. So this value is already done, 0.926, 11.069. So we are going to what? Can anyone guess? Anyone? Can anyone guess what we're going to do? We're going to update our value, right? বুঝতে পারছি আমরা এখন কি করব? We're going to update our value. 0.926. Angle will be, angle is 0. Yeah, 11.096. Sorry, not 0. Yeah, there is a minus. Okay, 11.096. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir, understand.
Now what?
Yes, sir.
Now what? আবার তুমি এখানে তুমি কি লিখবা? So your iteration 1 is done. Now you go for what? Iteration number 2.
yes,
Again, start from V2. Same equation, Y22, P2, JQ2, V2, Y21, V1, Y23, V3, something like that. Again, you will get a value. Again, you update the V2 value. Again, you find out the V3. Again, you update this value. Understood my point?
yes, sir.
So you update,
Yes, sir.
you update, and you update. When your 3 iteration is done, that means in the question they have already said. In the question they have said, do up to how many iteration?
3.
3 iteration. So when your 3 iteration is done, then you go for. So after 3 iteration, you will get this value. Here they haven't given you angle. They have given something like this. Okay, no problem. Same thing. Using the same calculator, you can do that. Here, this is your values. Now your last step, that means step number 8, your slack generation. That means your P1 and your Q1. You have to find out what is the formula for your slack generation. Your formula will be S1. That means after 3 iteration, that's why 3 is given. S1 V1 conjugate into Y11 V1, Y12 V2, Y13 V3. And obviously you have to use your latest value, latest. That's why 3 is given. You do not have to show me 3. No need it. No need. Just use the latest value. Latest value means what? Latest value means?
Third iteration, sir.
That means after 3rd iteration. Whatever the value you have here, that means the latest value. You will use the latest value. Once you use latest value, this is your formula for your slack generation. That means how much power your bus number 1 is giving. So S1 will be V1 conjugate Y11 V1 Y12 V2 Y13 V3. After you've done that, your value will be a complex number, right? Obviously, if you deal with some complex number, your value will be what? Complex number, right? The real part is what? Your P. And the imaginary part is what? Is Q. Abdullah বুঝছো?
স্যার একটু রিপিট করেন স্যার।
আচ্ছা দেখো সাইদুল, তুমি যখন তিনটা ইটারেশন শেষ করে ফেলবা, ইটারেশন 1, ইটারেশন 2, দ্যাট মিন্স হোয়াট? দেখো এট ফার্স্ট তুমি কি করবা? আমি বাঙালিদের জন্য বলতেছি এটা। এট ফার্স্ট তুমি দেখবা তোমার কি কি জিনিস দেওয়া আছে এবং তোমার কি কি জিনিস দেওয়া নাই। যেগুলো দেওয়া নাই ওগুলো তুমি অ্যাজিউম করবা। তারপর তুমি ইটারেশন 1 এ যাবা। ইটারেশন 1 এ গিয়ে যেগুলো তোমার দেওয়া ছিল না ওগুলো তুমি বের করবা। বের করে ওই যে তুমি যে অ্যাজিউম করছো না ওইটা মুছে ফেলে ওখানে ওটা লিখে দিবা। আবার পরেরটা বের করবা, আবার ওটা মুছে ফেলে ওটা লিখে দিবা। তারপর ইটারেশন 2, তারপর তুমি কি করবা? আবার ওই পুরানো ভ্যালু মুছে ফেলে নতুন ভ্যালু লিখবা। বুঝতে পারছি? যখন তোমার তিনটা ইটারেশন হয়ে যাবে, when your iteration 3 is done or when your iteration 5 is done, when your iteration 6 is done, যখন তোমার শেষ হয়ে যাবে, those are your values. যেগুলো তুমি পাইছো ওগুলো তোমার ভ্যালু। Now what are the things you haven't done yet? তুমি এখনো পর্যন্ত কি করো নাই? দেখো তুমি এখনো পর্যন্ত এই জিনিসটা বের করো নাই। See, I told you, right? Your V1 is given, your P1 and Q1 will be found out what? At last, right? তুমি সবার লাস্টে P1 এবং Q1 বের করবা। How to find out? Your formula is this one. S1 will be V1 conjugate Y11 V1 Y12 V2 Y13 V3. তুমি যখন সবগুলা ভ্যালু এখানে বসাবা তোমার একটা নাম্বার আসবে, একটা কমপ্লেক্স নাম্বার আসবে, সামথিং a প্লাস বি আই অথবা a মাইনাস বি আই, এরকম একটা কমপ্লেক্স নাম্বার আসবে। একটা পার্ট থাকবে যেখানে কোনো আই বা জে থাকবে না, দ্যাট ইজ ইউর P1, দ্যাট মিন্স দ্য রিয়েল পাওয়ার অফ বাস নাম্বার 1। আরেকটা পার্ট থাকবে যেখানে তোমার কি থাকবে? জে থাকবে, দ্যাট ইজ ইউর what? Reactive power. And one more thing you have to understand, both of them are what? Both of them are plus. If you have a minus here, do not worry. Both of them will be what? Plus, because this is generator, right? Generator always gives power. Okay? So if you have a plus or minus, do not worry, give plus. Okay?
Yes, sir.
This is a very long math. So you have to do, okay, all of you do this today, okay? And come to, when is your next class? Tomorrow? Or day after tomorrow?
Day after tomorrow.
So all of you do this math before coming to my class, okay? I will check. আমি ওই যে শুধুমাত্র ওই যে আব্দুল্লাহ বা ইব্রাহিম বা সোয়াইবকে চেক করব না, বুঝছো? সাকলাইন, সাইদ, সাইদুল, জাহিদ, তোমাদেরকেও চেক করব। সো তোমরা কি করবা? এই ম্যাথটা আজকে ভিডিও দেখে এই ম্যাথ করে তারপর আমার কাছে আসবা। বুঝতে পারছি?
ওকে স্যার,
ইনশাআল্লাহ স্যার।
সো তুমি যদি এই ম্যাথগুলো পারো তুমি কিন্তু চাইলে কি করতে পারো?